So when I break down all of these different technologies and all these different aspects and elements that are impacting and influencing change, I really look at 4 core filters. Empower. Empower is all about giving users control. Every iteration over the past few years is leading towards this idea of empowerment of the individual and control. Next is exponential. Exponential is all about the rise of intelligent systems. This is all about the rise of data, algorithms, and all the other key elements tied to virtual assistants, and I'll talk about different levels of autonomy with exponential. Enhanced. Enhanced is really that connection between physical and digital reality, and it's focusing on when our environment is going to adapt to us versus us adapting to it. The final section is a new section. It's called experience. Experience is how we evolve our mindset to fully understand all of the shifts and changes that are happening around us, and how can we capitalize on these specific changes within our individual businesses. Now, let's talk about how we can shift our mindset to understanding and having an experience-centric mindset. Because it is going to require a bit of a shift in how we think and even how we apply and think about technology. You may not be a techie, listening to this conversation or listening to this presentation today. But I do want to give you some foundational steps that you can take and begin to learn a little bit more about specific topics that may impact your business. Now, it's important to understand the way that Web 2.0 worked and the way that a lot of traditional marketing, multi-channel marketing worked, is that each individual experience, each individual channel was almost like an arcade, from the 1980s, to where you could step up to a cabinet, play your game, move to the next one, have a completely different experience. Moving forward, the expectation is for truly personalized and omnichannel experiences, to where the consumer is in the center, and it's all about bringing all of the convenience and all of the relevance to the individual. You can see the chips and the cookies and the screens and everything else is there. And again, we have an expectation for personalized experiences. Gen Z spends 2.5 hours a day with on-demand content. And again, this expectation for being able to curate your own experience, it's just a natural extension now of how they think. And again, it's not enough to take a Web 1.0 approach of just putting information out there. You have to continue to bridge physical and digital and immersive experiences in addition to your traditional digital experiences and your strategic approach and experiential. Like, it all has to tie together in a seamless way to make sure that you're having the biggest impact potential on the audiences that you're trying to reach or trying to activate. Really, really key. Now, taking it back to old school Sesame Street for just a minute, we'll say hello to our friend the Count. And there are 5 ways you can begin to shift your mindset when it comes to thinking about, how do I begin to think about technology and apply it to my everyday? Number 1, it takes an understanding that just deciding and saying you're going to do it isn't necessarily enough. Willpower enough is not enough. 25% of people stop whatever they're trying to attempt in the first week. 60% give up in the first month. It's incredibly important to set realistic, small goals. Pick an article a day. Watch a single video and just understand the basics of a core concept. That's what I do whenever I'm looking and evaluating different trends. I break things down to kind of its core foundational elements, and I begin to build it back up with my business or my clients' businesses in mind. That's how you begin to find kind of these connections across experiences. The second thing is, you're gonna have to get a little comfortable with the F word here. And by F word, I mean failure. So this is probably my favorite slide in the entire presentation, with Cookie Monster basically shouting an expletive. But understand, you're gonna have, as you begin this path of understanding technology and how it applies, you may get frustrated at times. You may run into, a brick wall of understanding, and that's okay. That's where you can continue to develop and lean into your network or different individuals, or continue to look for different information. But just because you might fail once doesn't mean you necessarily give up. Keep moving forward. Have very specific goals is number 3. So as you think about your business as you understand macro level each of these new concepts and each of these new territories, the metaverse, Web3, NFTs, all these things that are happening. There's just things happening every day. Make sure that you understand the needs and wants and desires and behaviors of your consumer, and that'll help dictate some of the channels that are going to be the most relevant as a part of your strategy to align physical and digital. It's a key point. It's also incredibly key to experiment. When I talk to different organizations about the integration of technology, there used to be, oh, well, we really like this idea, let's think about it. Well, you have to take and actually drive some type of action, whether it's creating a proof of concept, allocating a certain amount of budget just to do innovative, exploratory approaches. Because you have to set the foundation. Sometimes it's just about securing your space in the Wild West, just like with NLP and Alexa and others, with some of the evoke words, etc., and making sure that your brand is at least discoverable within Google Assistant. Little things like that can be a starting point to where you can then really take and expand upon that through experimentation. And the final thing is to understand experiences are constantly evolving. Technology is rapidly changing. And in order to truly understand how to apply different trends to your core business, it's really important that you understand the foundational elements. You understand kind of the core aspects of what your ultimate business goals are. And what I always recommend, I recommend a 70-20-10 approach when you think about putting it all together. So 70% is obviously tried and true, traditional digital and everything that you're doing. 20% are maybe new and emerging, more immersive experiences that may have a vanity KPI associated with it or key performance indicator. 10% may be just something completely experimental that you want to take and begin applying and trying and building an association. One thing that's really important to note here, though, as you're thinking about experimentation in gaming or any other specific area, it's not just about the creation of content. It's also about it's not just about the brand. It's about the individual and connecting it in an authentic way. Especially as you're beginning to deal with different communities, etc. That is an incredibly important piece to understand whenever you're trying to activate within these more immersive experiences or in these predefined worlds that already have existing communities. What role will your brand play? How will you be able to take and enhance those experiences? What additional elements of value are you bringing for those individuals? These are key things to think about as you're continuing to think about the exploration and application of all of these new and emerging things. All right, so now we've reached the point where I want you to get your camera out. So I'm going to show you a number of QR codes that will link to different resources that you can get started in learning more about certain areas. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk a little bit about Ethereum, NFTs, the Metaverse, AI, digital workforce, and emerging tech. So let's start with Ethereum. Now, crypto's had some ups and downs over the years and a little bit of down here recently, but Ethereum, again, is a core blockchain. The Ethereum blockchain is essential for NFTs. So not only is it kind of a stable coin, but you're actually able to take and drive Ether to purchase NFTs, to issue POAPs, all of these other things that are happening. So if you want more information about Ethereum, be sure to scan the code on the screen. Next is NFTs. This is a how-to guide on all things NFT, from how to purchase, where to purchase, basically what you can do with an NFT, all the way through to even potentially how to mint an NFT. Next, this is a how-to guide specifically for the Metaverse. It'll give you just a general deeper understanding of some of the core concepts associated with the Metaverse and just provide just additional insight into all the facets of the different communities, the different aspects, digital goods, etc. All right, this QR code is for artificial intelligence. So this is a link to a talk that I've recently given that goes a little bit deeper into the general aspects of AI, from machine learning to deep learning, generative models, etc. Now, we met Anne earlier, so from Synthesia, I always have a hard time pronouncing, but they're a fantastic team, so don't let my pronunciation keep you from connecting. The idea of the digital workforce is one that is definitely of interest, especially as more and more that we face worker shortages. How do we derive customer service in a more hyper digital world? This is another great way to kind of think about that. Now, as you think about emerging technology, I create a lot of content. So I've created 600 posts over the last, however many years. And I create a lot of original content, speak a lot on these various topics. What you see on the screen is an abbreviated version of this talk. This is my TEDx talk that lives on TED.com. So if you want the 13-minute version of this talk, there you go. Here are all 6 slides. I like to trick my conference goers to assign them on one, and at the very end I'll pull up all 6. And they're like, oh, we could have just done this one. It's always a good time. And that's it for today. Thank you for taking the time, kind of going through the idea of the evolution of experience, the role of how behavior and emerging technology are going to impact business, the 4 core filters of empower, which is control, exponential, intelligent systems, enhance, the linking of physical and digital, and experience, how to evolve the mindset. You can stay connected with me on Blackfin360. You can also, which you can scan the QR code here, or you can find me across social platforms at Blackfin360. So pretty much wherever there's a social platform, I'm posting content there. But again, thank you for your time and have a great day.